Good morning. My name is Prasad and I would like to tell you briefly about my experience. While I was reading this book called Twisting Facts to Suit the Theories, I was reminded about a discovery I made about 40 years ago at Vijayawada regarding the behavior of the press and the nature of the press. One day I was a little startled when I saw a large procession of people marching in uniform in front of my house. There were more than 1,000 people in shorts, in a shirt and with a cap. It took me a minute to realize that that was a march conducted by the RSS, because in Vijayawada we were not familiar with these RSS groups in our parts of the city. So a couple of days later I met the sub-editor of a popular newspaper and inquired, how come I don't see any report of this march by 1,000 and odd RSS people in this town? I'm sure the procession has passed in front of your office. He said, we do not know. I said, they must have passed in front of your office. Yeah, surely. But nobody has informed us that there is an RSS march. That was the nature of the press. That was a revelation to me. They black out any information that does not suit them. To emphasize this point, I would like to tell you that there is a cinema hall in Vijayawada called Alankar Theatre. And in close proximity, there are 3 newspapers, Andhra Patrika, Andhra Prabha and Indian Express. So anybody would like to conduct a march on that road. And if you see 20 people riding bicycles bedecked with red flags, that would surely find a place in the newspapers. If we find 50 people walking with red flags, it would surely be reported in the local papers of Vijayawada. So-and-so is protesting about such and such a thing. But that being the red flag marches, they are reported easily for small groups, even if it is 50. But 1,000 would elude the newspapers. They would not notice, they would not be able to see even 1,000 people if they don't carry a red flag or any other flag. So this is the bias or prejudice of the newspapers. They gang up the newspapers which are not apparently leftist or owned by the leftists, but still manned by the leftists. They would black out any information about RSS. This is not the only incident. In 77 November, Krishna district had seen a huge cyclone and the district headquarters town, Machilipatnam, was devastated. At least 15,000 people were dead. Some people played it down to 10,000, some people said it was 25,000 dead. But the fact is, the whole place was inundated and it was waterlogged, there was no food, and a team of doctors from Vijayawada went to Machilipatnam to render service, carrying their saline bottles, etc., because they were afraid of an outbreak of diarrhea or similar infections. So a few days later, a couple of days later, they realized that they were walking on dead and rotting bodies or bloated, soaked up bodies, dead bodies. And who had cleared them off? The municipality or the district administration did not jump in immediately to clear the dead bodies. It was the RSS which had done the preliminary service of doing the final rites for these dead people, hundreds of them. And for about a month, for a whole month. They were clearing the dead bodies. They were supplying elementary things like cooking utensils, etc. But RSS never attracted the press because the press in Vijayawada was completely biased against the RSS, calling it the rightist elements or reactionary elements or whatever they pleased. So anything other than a shade of left, is left out of the press. So the press is in the habit of twisting facts or eliminating facts completely. So I would like you to go through this book written by Narayan Das Upadhyayala to see the same kind of bias on a larger scale. Go through this book, it's very interesting. He has quoted the facts and figures. He had quoted the chapter and verse. I'm sure you will not be disappointed. Thank you very much.